Peace be with you. This video was meant to be released on August 15th, 2025. But as you can tell by the date, it didn't happen. And the reason why is because so many things happened that stalled the production of this video, mainly me getting a fever right before I was about to record the voiceover for the rest of the video and this portion of the video. But now that that's over and I feel way better, I can finally release this video out into the wild. And I'm mainly making this video to track my progress and look back to see where I started a year ago. And also, in case anybody wants to or is starting their own gym journey and wants to see how much stronger you can get in the course of about 1 year. Just be mindful to only imitate me as I imitate Christ. Enjoy.
So, the footage in the background is one of the forms of cardio I did during the summer of 2025. Playing freeze tag and being chased by first and second graders has got to be one of the funniest and effective ways to not only train for stamina, but train to generate a lot of speed very quickly. Anyways, in June of 2024, I decided to start lifting my sins away seriously. I started researching the most optimal exercises and methods of training, and because it was summertime and Planet Fitness had their high school summer pass, I was like, perfect timing. Fast forward to August, and I stopped going because the program was over and I needed to spend more time getting adjusted to school. So I didn't really train in August. Mid-September was when I really started lifting again. I was using this tracker from the time at Planet Fitness because I wanted to make sure I hadn't lost any strength. And sure enough, I went from barely being able to squat 75 pounds on the Smith with a face so red you could mistake me for a tomato, and benching 95 pounds, also on Smith at Planet Fitness, to being able to bench and squat 135 pounds on free weights in October. Around this time, I also wanted to increase my body weight strength by doing push-ups and pull-ups. I'll show you all the methods I used to master these in a couple of months at the end of the video. Now let's get to my stats after 1 year of not only consistent but failure-enduring workouts, nutritious, delicious, and protein-filled meals, and most overshadowed, consistent, and long amount of rest. By the way, I work out about 5 days a week. It's always 4, but sometimes 5. Starting out the week, I of course go to church on Sunday, work out Monday and Tuesday, rest Wednesday, work out Thursday and Friday, and Saturday is the wild card where I'll either rest or work out and focus on some niche exercises I don't usually do, with a heavier focus on cardio. And my favorite choice of cardio is the Stairmaster. 20 minutes at a level 11 with white girl music / worshiping music will make you forget you're even tired. Every day I work out, I do a full body. That way if I'm benching, I can rest my chest and arms while I squat, just as a quick example. So far it's been working very well, as my strength has grown almost exponentially since I started. I also make sure to explode the weight on the first half and control the weight on the second half of the movement / exercise, also known as a negative. You'll see what I mean if you keep watching. Now, I am listing all of this out because since the beginning of August, I've been trying a new push and pull schedule that focuses more on free weights, more reps, and 6 days of continuous workouts with only one rest day, that being, of course, the Lord's Day. By the way, I will be making a video on the food, the supplements, sleep, and any other things that I might miss in this video. I'm going to make a video talking about all those things because they're super important. I would even argue that they're just as important as the exercises themselves. Also, here's more footage of other types of cardio you can do. If you don't like indoor cardio, you can also just run in the rain.
What? Oh, I got him under, bro. I can't see nothing. Guys, currently reporting live from the shooting attack. Oh yeah, you're melting. You're melting. You're like an ice cream.
Bro, it's in my mouth.
Then you'll close your mouth.
Photo on TikTok.
No, I'm kidding.
What the? What did you?
Like I do, every now and then, change things up a bit. Don't be afraid to change things up a bit. Try something new, something different, shock the muscle or whatever. But yeah, anyways, let's get to the real stuff now. Let's press things off with benching, both Smith and free weights. Up first is my warm-up, which is just a bar, and then loading a plate on each side. As you'll see later on, I can bench way more than I'm showing it here, but this was just to give you guys an idea of my technique and range of motion. Now, something interesting to note is that I can bench around 175 to 185 on free weights. I don't actually know how much I can bench because for the latter half of the year, I trained exclusively on Smith. And the Smith at my main gym is not like the other ones, where the bar floats mid-air. This one actually falls straight down if you let go. So, on Smith, I can bench around 225 just looking at the plates on the sides because I know the bar isn't exactly 45 pounds. And so, one unfortunate consequence of only benching on Smith is that while going back to benching 135 on free weights feels ultra light, I can't get past 185 without losing so much energy just trying to balance the weight on my chest. So from now on, I'll be mixing in both Smith and free weights. That way, I get the raw strength from Smith and the stability control from free weights. Military press. This is one of the new exercises from the push-pull split, and it's similar to the shoulder press I usually do, except it's done standing instead of sitting, and so there's more of a focus on the core and back since I have to keep my balance. Honestly, most of the push-pull splits are remixes of what I already do, just slightly more difficult because of the free weight nature. My shoulders weren't necessarily tired, probably because they're just used to cutting the grass outside, and I don't mean with a gas or electric lawnmower. I mean one of these bad boys. A manual lawnmower will give your shoulders and forearms the workout of a lifetime, especially if you allow the grass to grow so much that it becomes thick and the lawnmower gets stuck. Good thing the potential the lawnmower has all depends on how long you can go without stopping and how much force you're able to produce while moving. Highly recommend doing this. In fact, stay tuned for an upcoming video on me just spending the whole day cutting the grass so you guys can see how I built my strong shoulders over time. Deadlift. Now, deadlifts are actually something I don't usually do, and I actually haven't done them since I started working out. If you pay close attention, that's the only exercise that didn't really change in weight, and for good reason. I don't do them. I only deadlifted for my first 2 months of training, June and July, and that was on a Smith machine, so it wasn't a really good experience. So I was extremely shocked at how easily I could deadlift 315 without practicing throughout the whole year. My friend convinced me to test my limits, and after getting a few tips on how to properly do it, which I still need to practice, I tried 315 and it honestly didn't feel heavy. Now I wanted to go for 405, but I don't want to risk getting an injury. Even 315 is more than enough for me because it's been 10 months since I performed this movement. Preacher curls. Now this is a bicep inducing movement I heavily recommend. Before starting them, I recommend doing wrist rotations. Honestly, I recommend doing these in every workout and even when you're not working out. I started doing them in July and I felt my wrists feel less tense and it take longer to give out. This is important because when you're doing preacher curls, the problem you're going to run into might not necessarily be the weight, but your wrists and to an extent your grip. Once you start doing them with proper control, you'll know what I mean. Now, I did use a bit of body momentum for the 90s, but that was because I was already tired from the deadlifting and my wrist was a little fatigued. Plus, for this specific movement, the top half is a really important part for the growth of the bicep, so the bottom portion doesn't really matter if you're using a bit of body momentum. But anyways, I think a reason why I could ease myself into preacher curls and go heavier than others around me is because I used to do concentrated curls for about 8 to 9 months or so, and I stopped doing them once I got around 55 pounds. I felt like going higher wasn't worth it, but doing those plus reverse curls for my forearms for a couple of months strengthened my wrist and grip in general. That and I don't use any sort of grip or wrist wraps. V-squat. This machine is amazing. As someone who struggles with depth during squats, this machine is sent straight from the Lord himself. I can do full range of motion with a lot of weight while it being super comfortable. Although that comfort does come with a drawback. It's the only machine that leaves scratch-like marks on my traps. But besides that, this machine is one I'm definitely using more frequently. And honestly, I feel confident in doing 4 plates very soon. Angled leg press. This is another machine that not only feels amazing, but I can get really good depth. There are other variations of this machine, but with this one, I can get a really good stretch at the bottom, and as someone with a small stomach, at least compared to before, the depth I get is basically left up to me since I can bring my legs up to my chest. Back extensions. This machine/movement is super underrated. I believe that this right here is what allowed me to not only feel amazing, but deadlift 315 with ease. I've never had back problems, so using this machine was the first time I felt long-term soreness on my lower back. Maxed it out very quickly too. I even maxed out the one at Planet Fitness, and that one went up to 260. This machine here is also the same one that allowed me to be able to reach down to my toes, because before that, I wasn't able to ever touch my tippy toes without bending my knees. And one day, after using this machine, I wanted to stretch, and I realized that I could touch my tippy toes, and I could even touch the floor with my palm of my hands, which is pretty amazing. It just shows how flexible you can become in 1 year. Tricep press. This machine helped me so much with dips and being able to control my body weight. It also gave my triceps some much needed tension, and it's super comfortable compared to other tricep exercises, especially if you're stuck to only being able to do them on the cable. Underwater handstand. Now this is a joke. This is just a break I took. So since my home gym also has a pool, I wanted to see if I could still swim and perform a couple of movements I used to do in middle school. And one of these was a handstand underwater. And I mean, my muscle memory is pretty good, so I was able to do it with ease. But anyways, this is just like a joke part of the video. Close hand lat pull down. Like other back movements, when you first start doing these, you might not feel it on your back. Instead, it might feel more of a forearm or wrist exercise. But trust me, once you get used to doing the movement and adding more weight to it, you start feeling your back be more engaged. And looking at this video, I lean back so much, so I'm glad I recorded this, so that this next year, not only do I practice this exercise with a wider grip, but I don't lean as much, even though from my point of view, I didn't even notice that I was leaning this far back. Hugs. So if you miss a certain person or love giving hugs, or maybe both like I do, then this machine is perfect. I can see myself giving the best hugs, and I should max it out by beginning of September. This is another one of those machines that when I first started using it, it felt super heavy. Like 100 pounds was my max for months. And then I stopped doing it, came to this new gym, and all of a sudden my strength in this machine went up exponentially, and now I'm really close to maxing it out. Rear delt fly. This movement also heavily helped me with mobility and back strength for pull-ups. I heavily recommend this exercise / machine if you're trying to gain a lot of strength on your back. And you don't even have to go heavy for this one. Just as long as you get that full deep stretch, you're good to go. Prone leg curl. Another machine that I've maxed out because my home gym only goes up to 165 pounds. I wish I could add plates onto the machine, but I can just aim for more reps and more control. This machine also helped me be way more flexible and prevent cramps from happening. Leg extension. I remember this machine used to feel near impossible, even when it barely had any weight, especially when you reach the top portion. It would make controlling the bottom half of the movement way harder because I just wanted to let the weight drop to rest quicker. But with time, this machine became one of my favorites, and sadly, I already maxed it out at my home gym. So same as the other machines on this list, I'll just aim for more control and more reps. Seated leg curl. This one had the same issues, but in reverse. Trying to hold at the bottom was very tiring, and not having your legs spring back up was the hardest part of this exercise / movement. This machine is also very good for your legs, so I highly recommend it. Even if maxing it out was also very easy, honestly, the hardest part of this machine now is just trying not to slip because of the weight, but other than that, it's pretty fun to use. Seated cable row. Just like the closed hand lat pull down, I am so glad I'm recording and reflecting on my form, because from this angle, it looks as if I'm ego lifting, and I can promise you that I can control this weight much better than this. Speaking of weight, this was another machine I had trouble increasing the weight on. Even going to 100 felt like my core was going to burst. Seated calf raises. I remember this movement feeling super heavy when I started doing it back in May with a single plate. Thought it was witchcraft. But like every other exercise in this list, I quickly got used to it, and by the end of July, I could do 5 plates until I realized that it was just too much weight for a high risk of injury. So I just stuck at 4, and now I just do more reps and control the weight way more while focusing on the stretch. The movement is great if you want to jump higher and if you want to prevent cramps. Lateral raises. The wide angle makes these look extra funky and like I don't have control or range of motion, but trust me, I can control the 30s much better than this. I had actually done 3 sets of these before I started recording, and so I was already fatigued from those. My max right now is 40 with a bit of body swing, and I try to control the weight on the way down. Dumbbell shrugs. This is the only movement where grabbing bigger dumbbells is necessary, at least for now. And it's also probably the first movement where I've seen the results in about 5 months. I remember accidentally flexing my traps and noticing a huge peak. It was really cool to see. So I definitely recommend doing these. Make sure you shrug as high as you can and control the weight all the way. These were also helpful with pull-ups and chin-ups. Pull-up. It feels so cool to be able to do these like it's nothing. I remember the days when trying to pull my whole body up with just my arms felt like an impossibility, and now it's easier than rubbing peanut butter on bread. Supine press. Now to change things up a bit, here's a surprise exercise / machine, if you will, that was added to Planet Fitness near me. So I went out to check it out because a new machine is something I didn't expect Planet Fitness to add out of all gyms. This is my 3rd time using the machine, and all 3 times I was able to press 3 plates for 4 to 5 reps. Feels good to do, and the chest pump is decent. So if I ever go to a Planet Fitness again, I'll definitely be doing this machine more often. Now here's how I learned how to do a pull-up. So instead of using the machine you see at the gym or using assisted bands like most people would, I just reversed engineered my way to learn them. So I would go to a nearby park, just hop to the bar, or the monkey bars in this case, and I would just control the negative as much as I can. And over time, I would jump less and less, and the negative would be easier to control. And once the negative was fully controllable, or at least most of it was, pulling myself up became such second nature, and everything just clicked. And now I'm able to do pull-ups. Dips. These are awesome to do because it helps with your balance, and it's basically the evolved version of the tricep press, but with your own body weight and in the air. So these are super cool to do. I used to be able to do 0 of these, but now I can do a solid 3 to 5 with my own body weight. So I'm pretty happy with this. Deep push-up. This variation of the push-up exercise is, in my opinion, the best. The problem with a normal push-up is that once your chest hits the floor, you can't go lower, and so there's a limit on how much of a stretch you can get. With this variation, however, you can go past your chest and really stress your chest and arms, especially if you hold the bottom for 2 to 3 seconds, like I'm doing here. I started doing these once I hit a plateau with normal push-ups, and so far I've been loving them. Now every time I do a normal push-up, since my body's so used to the deep push-up variation, they feel super light and super easy. Reflection. There's so much more I wanted to add to this 1-year update. However, like I said earlier, I'll save all that information for their own videos, where I'll go way more in depth. Also, comment down below any questions or comments you guys would like to add. I would love to hear from you all. But besides that, here's my old tracker, and here's the new one I'll be following for the rest of the year and into 2026. I'll see you guys 6 months from now for a 1.5-year update. I also just realized that this is technically my face reveal, so there's that. Now enjoy me doing pull-ups and a flip of sorts because they're so much fun to do, especially when you're able to finally play around with your own body weight.
So, if your form is pure, strength and size will follow. And remember, your muscles will grow the most when you're resting / sleeping. So don't skip out on those rest days. It's super important. And if you want to help remind yourself of that, just remember this: 8 hours of rest, then it's time to press. And also remember to flex muscles and not sins. And pray before every workout and give it to the Lord. This, I feel like, has been super key for me in order to get more strength and be able to push myself more. And every now and then, shock the muscle. So try new workouts to see if you can improve faster or slower, or just to see if maybe the muscle you're trying to aim for gets hit in a better way, gets stressed in in a more efficient way that'll help it grow later on. And you matter more than you are matter. God bless you.